Hey guys, JV here with another Destiny 2 tips and tricks video, and this time we have the final part of our guide for the first raid. Just a heads up, this is your place for daily Destiny 2 content here on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for Destiny 2 tips and tricks videos. Today I'm going to show you how to kill CALUS and complete the final boss fight in the Leviathan raid, so let's get into it. The overall objective here is to kill CALUS, and obviously that requires a lot of steps to get there. He's going to be immune for most of the fight, but will have several opportunities to lower his shield and deal some serious damage. And similar to the Gauntlet, I would say, you just need everyone in your raid group to perform their jobs correctly and you should be fine. I think this is a piece of cake fight with an experienced raid group. Before we start talking about phases, let's cover teams in this encounter. For CALUS, we'll need to split into two teams. Now, there are a few methods here for splitting teams, but the ones I'm familiar with are 3 and 3 or 4 and 2. My teams always use the 2 and 4 method, so that's what you'll see in this video. So starting with our team of 2, this will be Throne Team. Their responsibilities, besides shooting CALUS when the time comes, are to stay in the throne room, melee the correct scions, and kill adds during the second phase. We'll go over specific tips and what each person should be doing once we cover phase 2, but generally speaking, this is about staying alive. If you have guardians in your raid team who aren't super great with instructions but can still hold their own in combat and stay alive, stick them on the Throne Team. The other 4 guardians make up the Shadow Realm team. On Realm Team, their responsibilities are to call out symbols, shoot scions, and shoot skulls to power everyone's damage buff. Pretty much everything important and technical happens during phase 2, but people on this team need to have good mics to call out symbols in a loud and clear voice. They also need to be able to follow instructions well, because the most potential to screw up is in the Shadow Realm. That's just where a lot of wipes happen. So place people you can trust to execute on the Realm team. In order to begin this encounter, you'll need to shoot CALUS's cup. You'll hear a piercing ding noise as he drops his chalice and prepares to fight you. So phase 1 is really just about killing adds and staying alive. Everyone's going to be in the throne room. A mix of phalanxes, scions, and centurions will spawn out of the fog doors towards the back of either side, and they will converge in the middle. All the while, CALUS will be shooting a laser beam at anyone who is dumb enough to stand in the middle. In this first phase, position yourself so that CALUS doesn't have a line of sight on you. That involves finding a pillar, standing behind it, and clearing adds as best you can from that position. If you ever need power ammo, phase 1 is the perfect opportunity for that, because several elite centurions will spawn and head to the middle. They have solar shields, so burn them down with your energy weapon and grab your power ammo. Also in the throne room, we have 4 plates, each with their own Cabal symbol. If you're facing CALUS, front right is dog, back right is sun, back left is chalice, and front left is blades. You don't necessarily have to memorize these unless you're on Throne Team, but regardless, it's good to know where you are at all times. After a minute or so of killing adds, Counselor Scions will spawn on each platform, and CALUS will clap his hands twice, very dramatically, and after he does that, you'll be teleported to the next phase. Before we move on, it's important to note that wherever you are before teleporting into the Shadow Realm is where you'll be once you return, so make sure you're in a smart position and ready for the next phase. Like I said, phase 2 is where the majority of the technical stuff happens, the stuff you have to remember and be perfect on. So bear with me, because I'm going to try and present everything in the order that it happens as clearly as possible. At the start of phase 2, everyone will be teleported to the Shadow Realm. You'll see CALUS's big ugly shadow form in the distance, which he'll be using to suck everyone in to try and kill you. So if you're on the Throne Team, you'll want to immediately jump over the first wind barrier, which is the white strip along the bottom of the platform track that we're on, and then you'll want to grab one of the orbs. This will teleport you back into the throne room with CALUS. At this point, Throne Team needs to split up, one member taking the left side of throne room and the other taking the right. Again, it's all about killing adds and staying alive here. Your first priority, though, should be killing the phalanxes that spawn, because they have large shields that can protect the smaller scions. You'll also have constant elite centurions with solar shields to deal with, so keep that in mind too. Don't hesitate to use a solid rocket launcher to clear out mobs, because you'll be getting more power ammo from these elites. And if you ever need a breather, just step into the bubble with one of the scions on a platform. You'll be completely immune to enemy fire, and CALUS's laser beam won't be able to touch you. And once again, he's going to be using that laser beam constantly if you're in the middle, so you have to watch out for that. The other thing you'll have to watch out for is CALUS spawning giant flame balls that explode, and the cue for him doing this is when he throws both arms in the air. They'll spawn at your location, and you'll have a second or two to move. Just just make sure you're never standing in one spot for too long. Afterwards, CALUS will do a mortar attack as well, and he kind of aims one of his wrists, that's the call out or the cue for that, and that'll leave the ground in the area burning for several seconds, so try your best to avoid that too. There's plenty more to discuss with Throne Team, but let's go back to the Shadow Realm now for a moment. Back in here, the other 4 Guardians will stay inside and not take one of the teleport bubbles. Instead, they'll need to run up to the wind barrier and position themselves in order from left to right. So it doesn't matter who goes first or last, but everyone must be aware of the order that they're lined up in. So take a few moments while CALUS sucks you in to call out whether you're first, second, third, or fourth in order from left to right. At this point, a Cabal symbol will appear on CALUS's forehead, and each member of Realm Team will see a different symbol on their CALUS, and it's our job to call out which symbol we see so that the Throne Team hears us loud and clear. To make things easier, Realm Team needs to call out their symbol in order from left to right. So far left Realm member calls out theirs first, then middle left goes second, middle right third, and far right is last. However, the important thing here is that we have 4 people in Shadow Realm and only 3 different symbols are going to appear. This means that one of the symbols that someone sees will be a duplicate. In order to deal with this during this first wind barrier, you'll need to identify who the duplicate guardian is. Of the 2 people with the same symbol, the person farthest to the right doesn't need to call out their symbol anymore for the rest of this round here because we know that they're the duplicate. That would be redundant, so that person can stay quiet for the rest of this phase. And another very important note, the duplicate does change each time you enter the Shadow Realm, so you will need to figure this out during the start of each phase too, because we will be returning here again. So once you called out Chalice, Dog, Sun, or whatever it may be, 2 Counselor Scions will appear in bubbles on either side of the track in the realm. As a team, you must kill these as quickly as possible or you will fail the encounter. Back in the throne room, it's the Throne Team's job to be quiet and listen for the symbol callouts from the Realm Team. You're listening for the one symbol that Realm Team did not call out, the one they did not see. So back to our example, if Realm Team said Chalice, Dog, and Sun, then that means you want Blades. At this point, the Guardian closest to Blades on their side, which would be the left side of the room, will need to melee the Scion floating above that platform, and then return to killing adds. If Throne Team fails to do this, the encounter will fail and everyone will wipe. Once that platform Scion is down, the first wind barrier will disappear and Realm Team will be sucked into another barrier further on. And think of this dark platform that we're on as a sort of track with different obstacles in the way. You never want to have a ramp or bump in front of you because you're getting sucked forward after each round of symbols. Be sure to position yourself with nothing ahead of you or you'll fly over the next barrier and wipe the entire team. At the next barrier, Realm Team will need to do the same thing. Identify the symbols, call them out in order, and from this point the duplicate stays silent. Except on this barrier and each one moving forward, 3 normal Scions will appear in addition to the Counselors. Your first priority should still be to kill the Counselors because they are time sensitive, but seriously, watch out for the regular Scions. Their void attacks will pop you up just like a ramp and force a wipe for your team. So call out your symbols in order, kill Counselors, kill normal Scions, that's what you do. Back in Throne Room, Throne Team listens for the symbol that wasn't called, melee their Scions, rinse and repeat. You'll do this for 4 wind barriers until you reach the one closest to Shadow CALUS. The final barrier will disappear and CALUS will laugh at you, marking the next part of phase 2. After a few seconds, he'll start spitting skulls at Realm Team. Shooting each skull will grant 1 stack of Force of Will, which is a damage buff for the entire raid team. We need this in order to damage CALUS, so your goal here is to shoot as many skulls as possible. Here are some popular and effective methods on this part. If you have a Titan on Realm Team, have them use their lower barrier class ability. Crouching behind this automatically reloads your weapon so you can shoot as many skulls as possible. If you have 2 Titans, have one lay it down first and the other lay theirs down after that one. That way you always have a barrier up. Many people also like to use Cold Heart for this part because it's super easy to take out skulls with. Generally speaking, you want to use a weapon with a high fire rate because the skulls will be flying from all over the place, a little difficult to hit with a hand cannon for example, so auto rifles and similar weapons are best for this part. Realm Team should get at minimum 70 stacks. If you're not able to get that much, you probably don't have enough attack and power on your team. Don't worry too much about that number, just try and do this as best you can. So back in Throne Room, after the final wind barrier, Throne Throne Team has about 30 seconds to kill ads as quickly as possible. At this point, CALUS will throw up his hands and raise his shield. It looks like he's doing a ritual or something like that, and start draining Throne Team's health, and it won't stop until his shield is down. Now, there are different ways to do this, but generally speaking, both members of Throne Team need to kill as many ads as possible, then focus down CALUS's shield when he throws it up so he stops draining their health. This is a great point to use your super if you got it on Throne Team. If you happen to be a Warlock, Healing Rift is super helpful here too, so you don't have to worry about your health going down. Once CALUS's shield is down, the skulls will stop flying in Shadow Realm and orbs will appear for Realm Team to teleport back. Sometimes it makes sense to delay this so Realm Team can get as many stacks as possible, but I'd only try to do that if you have plenty of experience with this fight, or someone died, or some other extraneous circumstance. Once everyone is back in Throne Room, it's time for Phase 3, the damage phase, and luckily this is fairly straightforward. If Throne Team left a few ads alive, the raid group should spend a few seconds killing them. After that, everyone should make their way to Sunplate. Now it's time to damage CALUS, and in order for him to take damage, you'll need to be standing on a plate. The order of the plates does not matter, I'm just showing you how my team did it. So, starting on Sunplate, one Guardian should give a 3-2-1 and everyone will hop on. In terms of damaging him, you want a good mix of maximizing damage with power weapons and zero downtime. You know, you always want to be switching weapons and avoiding reloading. And of course, if you've got your super, maybe you didn't use it on Throne Team or you're on Realm Team and haven't had an opportunity, definitely use that now. After several seconds, CALUS will raise his hand and spawn one of those exploding sunspots. The natural reaction here is to jump to avoid it, but all you need to do is move off the plate and you'll be fine, and then head to the next one, which is Dog in our case. So as you're damaging him down, CALUS's form will change depending on his health. At 2/3 health, you know, he's got his normal form at first, but once he's down to 2/3, he'll crouch down to reveal his robotic form, and at this point, the glowing red chest becomes his crit spot instead of his head. He'll also use his mortar strike attack, so watch for him to raise that one hand with his wrist-mounted mortar, because that's when you need to move. At 1/3 health, he becomes slightly more aggressive, spawning more sunspots and doing more mortars. I've also had CALUS go into his health drain mode during damage phase, not sure if that's normal or not, but be sure everyone focuses on him to take his shield out if he does that. So once again, move from Sun to Dog to Blades and then Chalice last, and after that, ads will begin spawning again and we'll start over at Phase 1. So your team will repeat phases 1 through 3 until CALUS is finally dead. I'm not sure how many the limit is, I believe you can do this at least 3 times. In the footage you're seeing, my team did it in 2, so it's more than possible to get it done before 3 times through. That minimizes the number of mistakes, and as long as you're maximizing those skulls, then you will be dealing as much damage as possible. Just a few more things to keep in mind. For Realm Team, the track in the Shadow Realm will begin to fall apart after each time you go in. Be careful because some of the blocks will be gone and you'll fall right through if you don't see them. You should be able to see them ahead of time and avoid them entirely. That's what I advise you do after you've gone in there one time. For the Throne Team, the ad types in Throne Room will change depending on CALUS's form. At first, you'll see Centurions with their solar shields like I've mentioned, and then you'll see Flamers with void shields. Just keep that in mind if you're on Throne Team. Before we wrap up this guide, let's also talk about deaths and how to deal with them. If anyone on Realm Team dies, most of the time it's going to be a wipe because you need those callouts unless the Guardian who died happened to have the duplicate. In that case, the duplicate Guardian can just replace the dead Guardian easily and do the callouts in his place. For Throne Team, if anyone dies in Shadow Realm and you're not wiping, do not pick that person up. Their ghost will appear back in Throne Room, but don't go and revive them. 2 people is enough to do Throne Room's job. So wait for the end of Phase 2 and let a Realm Team person, when they teleport back, use their revive to pick them up. It's more important for Throne Room members to save their revives for each other in case one of them dies during that phase. Alright guys, today I showed you how to defeat CALUS, the final boss of the Leviathan raid. In the comment section below, tell me if you've beaten CALUS and therefore the entire raid yet. It's easy to think that everyone's done it, but the majority of Guardians actually have not. They're still battling for their first clear. So share your progress in the comment section below. Next time we will cover more Destiny 2 here on the channel, so stay tuned for daily Destiny 2 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button and subscribe for lots of Destiny 2 content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.